WCU alum and fan for over 50 years, not quite as long a fan as Steve White's been. You were at school a couple of years ahead of me. He's my co host and former sports information director, unofficial Catamount historian. And maybe one of these days it'll be official. But Tracking the Cats is brought to you, as always, by Stanberry Insurance offices in Silva, Waynesville, and Highlands. And today we've got Coach Kerwin Bell with us. But first, Steve, tell us what you know about the athletic director search that's been going on.
Well, Coach Bell probably knows more than I do about it, but all I know is um, uh, our chancellor said a few weeks ago, after Alex Gary had departed, that it would be a 60-day process, and that includes the what you call the headhunters, so forth, working on candidates, and then bringing people in to interview. Now, I don't know if anybody's been on campus yet to interview with the committee, what have you, but about all I can tell you is it's supposedly a 60-day process, and then hopefully we'll have a new director of
Great. So we're
athletics.
hopefully more than halfway there, and we'll hope to get an announcement pretty soon. Right now, let's go ahead and bring on head football coach for Western Carolina, Coach Kerwin Bell. Welcome to the program, Coach.
Thank you. Good to be on.
Good to have you again. Steve, you had a question, something about basketball. I don't know.
Well, I just wondered if Coach Bell, he goes back to the old days when the Gators used to basketball played in old Alligator Alley back at the old gym where
I
we
wasn't that old.
actually, yeah. Well, I was there then, and
Yeah.
in fact, they used to play the state tournament there. The place was so big that you could have two games going on at once. You'd have like Class A on one floor and Double A on the other floor. They'd be playing at the same time, and that was just sort of amazing to me.
My
But
dad
did you
actually
happen to
played.
watch the Gator basketball team
Yeah.
win the national championship?
Well, my dad played in the state championship there back when he was in high school,
Yeah.
at Mayo Lafayette High School. So, uh, but yeah, I was the Connell Center was new when I was going to Florida. So, but no, I did get a chance to watch them, and man, they, I talked to our team about uh, sort of what you've seen from the championships in basketball this year. You've seen a mentally tough basketball team in Florida. They came back three different times in that tournament to win a game,
They
and so
sure
it
did.
just showed the mental toughness they had. And then the UConn women are just physically tough all around. And I think that's what you have to win a championship. And we've been talking about that since January. We've got to prove that we can be a physically and mentally tough football team that can grind it out, can win those big games. When maybe you're not playing your best, and find a way to win. And that's what we're trying to get our team to reach that sort of lofty goal to be able to do that.
So you had spring scrimmage a week ago Saturday, and were you impressed with that kind of toughness? I mean, it's only an hour and a half that they were out there, right?
Yeah, no, I really like the way we've competed all spring, all 15 practices, including the spring game. Uh, I think it's proven when you come and watch us, is what sort of I've been saying, is that we are the most balanced football team I think we've been at this point of the spring off season. We're as balanced as any team, that as good as or better than any team that since I've been here, as far as defensively, offensively, veterans, big guys, small guys, special teams guys that can go play and help us win games. So I feel like we are a pretty balanced football team that has a chance to compete at the highest level in our conference.
Well, Coach, yes, what were your top objectives going into the spring practice this year for you and the coaching staff? What were you looking for out of the Catamounts during spring practice?
Well, I think it was two things for me. We wanted to evaluate certain guys. We have got a lot of guys that we had redshirted the last couple of years, guys who didn't get maybe a lot of playing time but needed to step up this off season and see if they could help us. And so there was a lot of evaluation that went on. We played a lot of young guys in the spring. Some of our veterans didn't get a lot of reps. The Micah Nelsons and the Caleb Fishers, we know what they can do. But we wanted to see the young guys, so we gave them a lot of reps. I think we found some guys that can help us, and then also just we had to get, offensive line was a big key. We had to really work. We worked a lot on our run game. I think we've got to be better running the football this year, and then we got to, stop the run. So going against each other, being physical in the run game was something that we wanted to accomplish this spring, and I think we've done that.
Yeah, well, we've had several questions come in from our viewers for this meeting today, and one of those was offensive line. You mentioned balance, you mentioned the running game. Or how do you feel about the O-line compared to this past year?
Well, I think we're still going to probably look for one or two here in the portal when it opens tomorrow to help us, but I feel like we have got as deep of offensive line we've ever have. Now, where those first 5 or 6, where do they, stack in there? We've got 2 guys, Sanez, who you remember missed all of the season. We feel like him coming back and those guys coming back will help us, but we probably need to add another one. But we feel really good about how big we are, how athletic we are. We think we're going to be more of a physical football team on that offensive line, be able to move people, which will start to help the run game. And so I feel really good where we're at. We had to replace really the whole line. But I think we've done a really good job of picking out some guys that came in January. And then some of the young guys have really grown up. And I think we're going to I think that's the key for us is our offensive line. We got plenty of skilled players to get it done, but we got to be better up front if we want to win a championship. That's on both sides. And I feel really good about defensively. We're going to be so much bigger on that side also up front. I mean, right now we're starting a 340-pound D tackle and a 320-pound 3 technique. And behind them, we got 2 300-pounders behind them. So we're bigger than we've ever been on that side of the ball.
Nice.
Yeah. Coach, say what area, I know touching on this, which area do you think made the most progress in the spring? I don't know what you were looking at as far as that was concerned. We talked about that earlier, but which area were you more, say, impressed as far as making progress this spring?
I think a lot of our young defensive linemen, defensive end guys, Kenyon Partridge, who we redshirted, gained about 30 or 40 pounds since he'd been here. He's now up to 250-something pounds. I thought Richard Garrett, Justin Wallace, guys who've been here a couple of years, they all made a big jump this spring. We got a lot of good young players that we feel like that's going to be really good players for us for a long time. And so Edwin is also a D tackle who's special. And so we've got some veterans like Micah Nelson and Caleb Fisher and those guys, but we also got these young kids who really grew up this spring and are really going to help us.
That's great. Talk about our quarterback situation. Tiger wrapped out the last few games last year with us. He's looking like he would normally be our go-to guy starting this fall. What do you think he looked like in spring? A little more comfortable?
Oh yeah, we wanted him to, he played those 4 games. He did really well. There was 2 things that we wanted to work on with him this spring, and really the first thing is just make sure he's more knowledgeable within the system, can get through his reads a little bit faster, be able to cancel things out, be able to pre-read, pre-snap read a lot of things a little bit better. But then the 2 things that I think is going to separate him is going to be, can he give up on plays, right? He's like a lot of great players in that he don't want to give up on any play. And there's sometimes you got to throw it away or you got to run for 3 yards. If we stay in good down and distance, like I've told him, we're going to score a lot of points with him at quarterback because he makes so many special plays and he's great throwing the football. We just got to make sure we don't take those sacks. We don't throw interceptions when we're trying to do too much. So that was one area I really was glad to see him make some improvements. And then taking care of the football. He fumbled 3 or 4 times last year in crucial situations. Yeah. A lot of us taking 2 hands off the ball, and playing around with one hand, putting the ball in one hand. So we really tried to work on that. That still is a work in progress. We're still trying to do that, but he really improved this spring. He's He's a fantastic football player, and we got to keep him healthy. We got to get a run game to help him out a lot. But I like him, and I like our backups. I think we got a chance to have some really good backups there behind him.
That's I wanted to, Forrest.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wanted to follow up on the backup QBs.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve.
That's all right.
So what about your backups?
Yeah, Bennett Judy is a kid who's been with us as long as Tiger. They came in together, and we wanted that was a little bit of a disappointment. He broke his thumb about the second practice, hit a helmet. He was out until the last week, right before the spring game. Played in the spring game, but was still a little rusty. Hadn't practiced a lot, but we feel like he's really made a lot of improvements from the last couple of years. We feel like he's really knowledgeable in our offense, can run our system really well. We also got a kid, Tate Rodemaker, that we hadn't got in school yet. We signed him late, and he couldn't get in school. But he's coming in June. Tate was I had got him committed out of high school when I was at South Florida. He then went to Florida. We got fired there during that recruiting season, and then he went to Florida State and started 4 games there. Played against the University of Florida, won a game against the Florida Gators as a Seminole, and then went to Southern Miss last year and started 6 or 7 games. So got a lot of experience. Big kid who can throw it, and so and moves really well. And so we think he's going to add a lot of depth behind Tiger there. Nice. At the quarterback position.
Maybe, Coach, some of the new names that Catamount fans are going to hear about, see a lot of this fall. Some new names. You've hit on some of them, but some of the guys that you think are going to step up that didn't get much play last year, and they're going to become you'll see their name on the stat sheets, offensive and defensive. Some new guys that we are not maybe that familiar with.
Well, at receiver, Jai Boyd is a kid that I think is a star ready to bloom. He's been sort of in and out of the lineup, sort of shared a lot of snaps. He's going to be one of our starting wide receivers, and I think he's going to have a big year. Isaiah Johnson was a freshman last year and played behind Colombo. Sad to say Colombo's out for the year with a knee injury towards ACL, just on a freak deal. So he's out, which is we're going to really miss, Colombo. He was a good football player. But I think because of that, Isaiah's got to step up now, and I think he's going to have a big-time year. He's a really good football player. And then Malik on the outside also is a kid who sort of been a spot-time starter for us and played a lot last year. We think he's going to have. So those receiver groups, there's 3 or 4 there that's going to be really special. We're bringing in 5 guys from high school we all think can play. So I think you're going to be pleased with those guys. At running back, Pat Boyd, I think we moved him from a sort of a slot receiver to the running back position last year. Got to play a little bit late in the year, and then we've had him the whole spring. And we think Pat's going to be a dynamic player. He's got breakaway speed. He runs really hard. And you have him, Branson, who's coming back, Branson Adams from last year, who played really well for us. And we think that running back position is still very talented. So on the offensive side, that's sort of those guys, We talked about the line. There's some good young guys there that were brought in the portal. And then on the defensive side, Blue, I think you'll see him. The middle linebacker will get to play a lot this year. He started a lot last year, but I think he's going to be one of our team leaders. And then at corner, we've got some young kids that we're still trying to develop. That's a position where we might go out and try to get 1 or 2 more players there. But defensively, we got some young kids that's going to have to step up. And I think through the spring, we've seen there's some guys that can do that. And so hopefully we'll see that as the fall, comes around.
Yeah. Speaking of additions to the team, another question from one of our viewers was asking, did we pick up anybody either in the transfer early, or are we looking at anybody now that's moving over from FBS? You mentioned the QB. Anybody else?
Well, I'm looking at my depth chart here. Cameron Dabney is a corner who we picked up, pulled a hamstring midway through spring practice, so didn't get to see a lot of him, but we think he's going to be one of those corners that really step up. Another guy that we really like at corner is Darian Anderson, who was hurt last year, and Darian's back healthy. And we also got who's my other guy? Oh, Hassan Sykes out of Atlanta, Georgia, was redshirted last year. We think he got a chance to be an all-conference type player here in his career. Really good football player. So yeah, those are guys that we're looking to step up to make a difference. As far as the portal, we was able to pick up the corner I talked about. We got a linebacker that has got 3 years left. He's at Middle Tennessee State. He's from Charlotte, and it's Jordan. What's Jordan's last name? Jordan Thompson. And Jordan's don't play a lot for us. We're really pleased. Played really well in the spring, and so we think he's going to really help the linebacker position. And then at offensive line, we brought in 4 guys we think can help us. 2 are from international kids. One's from Serbia, Ilya, we call him. He's from Serbia. He played 4 years at Boston College, was a scholarship player for Boston College, so got some good FBS experience. Mm-hmm. Hadn't played a lot of football up until that point there in Serbia, but he's got 1 year left. He's 6'8", 335 pounds. We also got a kid from Spain that will probably play guard for us, Vito. Vito's from Spain, and he's 6'6", 310, really athletic kid. So him and then, Brett Gray and all these other guys that were part-time starters for last year is going to have to step up. So we're excited about all them guys. We think all of them is going to help us, and I think that's going to be a big key for our football team.
Well, Coach, I really love this year's schedule on paper. I think it can really maybe help our team's potential for the success with all those home games, 6 home games this year, and especially having Mercer, Furman, East Tennessee, your perennial contenders for the Southern Conference, all coming to Whitmire Stadium this season.
Yeah, I do. Last year's schedule was tough. We were still leading 4 of those games that we lost in the fourth quarter. So again, we've got to find a way to be tough, no matter if it's at home or on the road, find a way to win those games. And that's our mindset. Sort of our slogan is no excuses. We're not going to blame anybody. We're not going to look around. We just don't get the job done this year. But our home field is an advantage. It is. It's one of the best game day experiences in FCS football. And so hopefully with these 6 games, that's going to give us a chance. I tell our team all the time, you can't be a champion without dominating home field. You got to be a great home field team if you want to be a championship football team. And with our atmosphere we have here, our home field advantage, hopefully that's going to give us a big shot having 6 games here at home this year.
That's great. Looking forward to it. Got my season tickets already, so we will see you there. One of our longtime alum and viewers, Bob Folsom, has asked, what about the academics on this team? How are these guys doing in that direction? I know that's a focus for you too, Coach.
Yeah, we're getting as close as we can so far. We were at about a 2.85, 2.9. We're trying to get to that 3.0 as a team. That's a big goal for us. But all our guys are eligible. We're having a great spring this spring as far as our football team. They're really committing themselves. We got a great academic team with Miss Ashley Simmons and all the people working for her and our academics. And our kids have to go to study hall. Every week they have to do so many hours. We have tutors that are available for them. So we have those academic people, and our assistant coaches are checking on them every week to make sure they're doing their work and doing it the right way. So I feel really good about where we're at as far as academically being able to get these guys through here. We tell them all the time, getting that degree is the most important thing, because we're only going to play this game 4 or 5 years here in college. And getting that degree is very important. And our kids out of 120 guys, we might have still got maybe 5 or 6 knuckleheads, I call them. They're still trying to figure it out, But I think that's a great number out of 120 players. So we are making sure we're staying on those 4, 5, 6 guys, and but everybody else is doing a great job.
That's why my dad used to call me knucklehead.
Yeah.
Coach, I know things are going to be maybe a little messy around the stadium in the coming season with all this new construction going on the west side, but it can also have a real positive effect. I think all this construction, people looking, the fans looking at what the results are going to be down the road, donors seeing that they're positive about building the football program. I really think even though it's going to be messy, I really think it's going to be a positive this season.
Well, anytime you're starting new construction on something, it shows that the university is investing in our program and our athletics department. There's, like you say, excitement from our players. Hopefully, we're inspiring our alumni to get more involved and help finish the project, because really that'd just be one phase. We still want to get a weight room and locker rooms and all that. So hopefully, we'll inspire people, our alumni and our boosters, to get more involved and even help to see. And like you say, that only can inspire and excite everybody, seeing that new stadium going up on the west side.
One
That's
last
right.
question.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Steve. One last question for you before we get wrap this up is, spring practice is over. We got the portal opening, but for a brief period of time. And all the rest of us, it looks like dead season for you guys. Tell me what the next couple of months until things warm up again in the summer look like for you and the guys on the team.
Well, I hope this is the last year of this portal deal. It opens tomorrow, the 17th or 16th, and it goes till the 27th. So about a 10-day period here. And I just think it's ridiculous that the NCAA is letting this go on. We go through the whole off season. We went through spring practice, and now, we don't know really what our team is until we get out of this portal situation the next 10 days. So I've heard that this will probably be the only year that this will happen, but hopefully it'll just go back to have one period, which will be in January. Let people move around when they want to, and then we'll have a chance to know our football team going into January and the off season. But I'm sort of scared to death about the portal. Hopefully we'll keep most of our guys, and like I say, there is an opportunity now for us to go out and get 3 or 4 guys we think is going to make a difference for us. One's at offensive line, probably at receiver. We'll go find somebody to help us, give us a little bit more veteran leadership there in that position. We'll probably look at a D lineman, maybe a D tackle, a linebacker, and a corner. So there's 4 or 5 positions that we probably going to try to upgrade and get better at here in the next 10 days. But it is scary, not knowing your team until you got 3 or 4 months before the season starts. So this is not a great year for me, man. I'm sort of nervous about the whole situation, but hopefully we'll keep our team, because I think we got a really good football team coming out of spring practice, and hopefully we can keep them all together and make a run when we get going in the fall.
Coach, did you ever think about back in your day, back in the 80s at the University of Florida, but if they'd had the NIL and the portal and so forth, maybe what your value would have been back in those days? Now, I know Coach Spurrier accused Florida State of, free shoes you and all that type of stuff. But did you ever think about that? Said, what somebody would have offered me back in the 80s to go to another school?
I know, back in our day, we never thought about stuff like that, right? It's funny how just that times have changed. For us, college, it was so different than the NFL, right? That was if you was good enough to make that, then you got paid. But you went to college because you loved your university. You wanted that degree from there. You wanted to represent them. We would have never left Florida to go to Florida State or Miami or Auburn. And now these kids go all 3 places in one career, I just don't see, back then we would have never done that. But so times have changed. There's a lot more that you have to worry about now as a coach. You have to adapt to it. You can't just stick your head in the sand. It is what it is. but I think we can still be successful here at Western Carolina if we continue just to build a program built off of the ideal that we're going to be competing for a championship year in and year out. And our guys believe that. One thing I love about this football team and where we're at right now in athletics is that we're still coaching guys who treat the game to the purest form, right? They still just want to play the game. When you go get into that FBS and their guys are getting $1 million, 800,000, that's not what I signed up for. And so I still get to coach, our quarterback, Tiger, man, he just loves the game. I'm sure he'd want a little money if somebody gave it to him, but he loves the game. And he's playing because he wants to get his education and he wants to represent Western Carolina and win a first championship in the history of this school. And that's what we've sort of built this program around. And it's good to see our guys staying here. We've got a lot of kids we recruited 3 or 4 years ago that are still here, and they're seniors. And because of that, I think we've got a chance to do some really special things this season. So we'll see.
Well, we're excited about it. Got anything else, Steve?
I think that's about it. But speaking on that other term about the Tennessee quarterback turning down $2.4 million because he wanted $4 million and so forth.
Yep.
So I was really proud of Tennessee stepping up and say, "Hey, you got to be a part of the team," and that's interesting times. But that all goes back to what you're talking about our guys, completely different attitude about things.
Yeah, it's it's a funny game now. I don't know where it's going to end up neither. You never know because there's not a lot of guidelines. Like I say, this portal deal goes back to 1, hopefully in January. That way, at least we got a chance to go into the off season knowing what our football team looks like and not wait until May before we find that out. So hopefully there'll be some changes and there'll be a little bit more restrictions. But, the kids are making money. That's good for anybody, right? It gives the opportunity to make money. But I just hope that we still keep treat it like college football. It's not a minor league football team. It's not pro football. This is still college football, and I want us to make sure we keep representing it that way.
Well, I appreciate the way you think about it, Coach. I know that the fans are proud of you and proud of our team, and we're excited to see the season going and just looking forward to getting started. Gosh, it's going to be here before we know it, just 3 months away in August. So thanks for your time today. We appreciate it. Tracking the Cats is brought to you by Stanberry Insurance every time. Stanberry in Silva, Waynesville, and Highlands for all your insurance needs. Coach Bell, we look forward to getting you back again maybe before the season starts.
All right. Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.